Hello and welcome back to the Alnwick Castle podcast. I'm Daniel Watkins, and on today's episode, we're returning to the library of Alnwick Castle to find out the latest updates about this year's library project. Back on episode 59, Deborah spoke to the castle's household controller, Andrew Jarman, and the project conservator, Ellin Belton, all about the plans for the library. On this podcast, Deborah is checking in with Andrew and Ellin again, as well as building surveyor Robin Smeaton, to hear about the progress that's been made so far, and the project's milestones. Much of the work that has taken place since our last library episode has been focused on the ceiling. The library ceiling features 4 decorative panels, each representing different subjects. One showcases art and the culture of the Italian Renaissance. Another displays items relating to ancient Egypt and to the Royal Navy, both of which were interests of the 4th Duke of Northumberland, the Duke who last restored the library in the mid-19th century. The third panel features images of scientific equipment, steam trains and globes, and the final panel is dedicated to music. The 4th Duke had employed the Italian architect and archaeologist Luigi Canina to create the interior decoration of Alnwick Castle's staterooms. When Canina died in 1856, his assistant Giovanni Monteroli took over and designed the panels of the library ceiling. They were carved by a team of 21 carvers, gathered from the area between Glasgow and Sunderland, and known as the Annex School of Carving. Taught by another Italian, Anton Buletti, the school created the ceiling panels from Monteroli's designs. They also carved the other fixed woodwork in the library and the other staterooms, from doors and shutters to panelling and the rest of the ceilings. You'll hear a lot more about the library ceiling and everything else happening in that room at the moment in Deborah's conversation with Andrew, Ellin and Robin. They did speak at the top of the scaffolding in the library, just below that ceiling itself, so you might hear some background noise during the episode as work continues in the library. Please enjoy.
So it's great to be joined once again on the Alnwick Castle podcast by Ellin Belton and Andrew Jarman, and we're also joined today by Robin, and they are going to give us an update on the progress of this year's library project. Welcome back and welcome. How are you all?
Very well, thank you very much.
Yes, very well, thank you.
Very excited to be here for the midway point.
Yes, so we last spoke about the library in April. How has everything been progressing since then?
I'm looking at Andrew here. Shall I say we are on time with the programme?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are on time, which is a relief, because obviously one of the key things about the library project is we have so many weeks of work to do in a shorter space of time to bring it back for the family returning for the winter residency. So it's very nice to be at this point towards the end of May, with the majority, I think, of looking at Ellin, the cleaning having been done, which was a bit of an unknown, and also the things that we discovered along the way, which we had to address. So, yeah, it's nice to be on track. We kind of have to keep that momentum going now.
It's always quite good where you get to the point where we can see it, right, we've done that, we've finished that now. So there's a lot of jobs that were at the start were not necessarily a concern, but needed to be done. They're now done now, so now we're looking actually towards the latter part of the project, which means we're starting to look to put the room back together. At the moment we're starting to install decorative lighting, so all the challenges of installing new cabling for all of that have been done, for want of a better term, and we're now to the point where we're starting to fit that, which is going to be quite exciting to see it all energised and see what the effect is going to be.
It was really interesting. Last week we came to a close with the cleaning of the ceiling itself, and that was kind of 4.5 weeks in total, with a rolling programme of different people coming to assist. And then, so once we'd finished the ceiling, it enabled us to then get the wall silks up over the bookcases. So that's half the room has got the new silk on it, which has enabled Robin's team of electricians to now come back in and do the lighting. So yeah, definitely visually a big change in the last 2 weeks.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing as well is we're now getting to the point where we're looking to start to think about removing scaffolding, which is going to be a huge point in the project, because it's been here for quite a while. It's a huge amount of scaffolding, and psychologically it's a big hurdle crossed.
So in terms of the library ceiling and the ceiling itself, how much cleaning was involved, and how did that differentiate between recent projects with the anti-library ceiling on the dining room ceiling that's also been cleaned?
So the cleaning of the ceiling was set out on a 4-week plan, and we originally wanted to have a team of, say, 4 people for a set number of hours. We required more people for more hours, as these things often take much longer than one anticipates. So we managed to find some willing participants, so it meant that it kept us on schedule and on time with the rest of the programme. So yeah, sort of 4 full-time weeks for 4 people, and then some additional helping hands towards the latter part of the main ceiling clean.
It's quite good for us because we have our own in-house maintenance team, so it gave the opportunity for a couple of members of that team to be involved with that, which is something completely different to their normal operations that they carry out. So it was good for them, good for us as well, because it lets them see how these, how the ceiling cleaning techniques.
And I think they quite enjoyed it as well, didn't they? I mean, Paul and...
Yeah, you did, yeah.
They did, and the direct labour team are always essential in delivering any project in the castle. I think we need not understate their importance, really.
And when the cleaning was being done, did you find any hidden secrets or anything that you didn't know about what was on the ceiling during that project?
Well, Deborah, yes. We uncovered a number of signatures. So it's kind of quite traditional that in many historic houses, when people have worked on elements of the building, cleaning, making, restoring, they tend to leave a signature and a date. So yeah, we found lots of signatures all around the room, some dating back to the 1850s, so obviously when things were quite new and being initially installed. What has been really interesting is once we got up onto this top level of the ceiling, we could see the level of detail that's gone into all the carving, and each of the big inset panels, of which there are 4 on the library ceiling, all representing different elements. We've got one in the window recess, which is musically based, and I was taking groups of the guides round, and I said, I wonder if the detail is that meticulously carved, because there's a panel with sheet music on it, and I said, I wonder if that's playable. And Karen, who was working on cleaning the ceiling, managed to indeed work out what piece of music it was. There was a slight clue because Rossini was put at the head of the music, but we still had to work out which piece of music it was by Rossini. But indeed, we've managed to track it down, which has been great, and again, testament to the quality of the craftsmanship. So the process of the ceiling cleaning took us 8 to 10 shades lighter. So we started off with a very matte grey, what appeared to be paint finish, and then what was revealed through the cleaning process was actually a cream colour with a little bit of sheen to it. So a totally different appearance, and really will overall lift the visibility of the detail and the colours within the ceiling. The process of cleaning sometimes highlights some damages and previous repairs. So again, with the cleaning, we've gone to the nth degree where we can, and we have had to re-gild. Well, we've gilded some screw heads so that they're not visible in the ceiling where things have been repaired before. Just because people won't see things from ground floor level, we know that we want to leave the ceiling in a better condition than what we came to. So absolutely kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's as far as kind of cleaning and stabilisation goes.
New silks have been put onto the walls. Can you tell me a little bit about those, please?
So the silks are to match the anti-library silk, so they're the same colour. And I think Robin will be able to help me out here. I think the pattern was created by the company from a small sample of what was originally in the anti-library in the library. So it's a kind of recreation of the pattern that would have been here originally.
It was. The ante-room had originally been silked in the 19th century, but I think in the 1960s the silk had been removed due to its condition. And a small sample of it, as Andrew mentioned there, had been retained, but not enough to get a full pattern from that. So the Humphreys Weaving Company from Suffolk, they took that remnant and used their experience and knowledge to finish the pattern, for want of a better term, and that pattern was approved by the client, and then that's been woven. It was all woven together in 2019. The silk was installed in 2020 in the ante-room, and the silk's been in storage for the library since, and is due to be hung in a few weeks' time in the recess.
And in terms of it actually going onto the walls, what is the process? what is the process on how to hang silk of this size?
Wall preparation wise, the biggest thing with the wall is breathability on the wall. So it has a breather membrane installed on the wall, which prevents dust migration, but also means that moisture can travel as well, so there's no moisture gets trapped behind it. So that's the first preparation. The silk itself is woven in strips, and then it's cut, and then it's sewn together. So it's seamed at every 500-600 millimeter width in there, and it is fixed to the wall. Traditionally, we fix the wall with tacks, maybe 20 mil centre, something like that. But now staples are used to fix it there. So it's initially hung, and then it needs to be steamed, and the steaming relaxes the material so it can be gently stretched to take out any ripples that there are in the material. It's not stuck to the wall, it's effectively stretched across the surface of the wall and fixed at all of the edges of each panel. So it's not stuck at all, it's actually just suspended on the wall by the staples.
Can I just interject? When Robin was talking about tacks, removal of the old tacks was no mean feat, and I started, but again the direct labour team, Peter just kind of cracked on, and Stuart as well, and they just really stuck with it because
Did you count them?
We didn't count them. We'll just go with 20 mil centres, and we're probably on about 50 linear meters of tacks, top and bottom, so that's about 100 linear meters of tacks to remove. They also had to remove the gilded fillet in order to free the space up, and then the silk can be hung, and then we will replace the gilded fillet hopefully later this week. So then it's going to start looking quite bling again, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And during the last time we spoke on the podcast, you mentioned that there was a new carpet coming into the library.
So two new carpets. So the first one was ordered in 2020, I believe, and has been woven and has been received. So currently it is sitting on a pallet. And at the beginning of the year, we ordered another carpet because the recess area has been reimagined. So the folio cabinets were there, have been removed, and it's going to be turned into a sitting area, which will mean the commissioning of the fireplace as well. So we had to order another carpet for that area, along with spark rugs, which will go in front of the 3 working fireplaces. So we should receive that carpet, we hope, in September. So yes, the next thing we have to do to the carpet is we have to unpack it, unfold it, re-roll it, and take it back to store until such time as it comes into the library, which we think will be early September, is what we're looking at the moment. So if all things stay on track, that's when we'll yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
It will.
Should I just say as well, because you asked me before about the size and the scale of the ceiling clean in its relation to the anti-library. The anti-library is about a quarter of the size of the library itself. So what we did in the anti-library has been multiplied by a scale of 4 to actually do in a month here.
Because we had originally anticipated approximately 400 man-hours, hadn't we? Which I think we worked out is one person working for 12 weeks continuously. And I think it turned out nearer 5,500 hours.
It's going to be somewhere in
5,500, yeah, 5,500 hours, yeah. So, when we do the budgets for things like that, there is a certain amount of estimating, because obviously you can't get close to the ceiling to have a look at it and see how dirty it was in some areas.
We're still waiting for Robin's invoice.
You said it was free.
I don't remember saying it was free. Nice try.
And in terms of the project now, you've done the ceiling. Is there other parts of the upper level still being cleaned, still being worked on?
We have a couple of shelves of books still to clean, so there's probably a couple of days' work for the book cleaning team on this very upper level. It's mainly the elements that are to be finished on the first floor kind of gallery level, so the rest of the cleaning of the woodwork and the books at that level. As we speak, you can probably hear people going up and down the ladders. They're busy installing the electrical components on the gallery level today. So yeah, and then we'll just keep working down. So finishing the woodwork, reinstalling light fittings. We've almost finished cleaning the chandelier, so that can be reinstated once the scaffold comes down too. So it really is, like as Robin said, starting to kind of put things back together.
So if people are visiting during the summer, where do you think you'll be, or what do you think they'll see at that point?
I think towards the end of the summer, they'll be able to see a lot more. At the moment, it's pretty difficult for any visitor who's in the room at ground floor level to actually see what's happening other than the scaffold. However, we have cameras at eye level feeding back a live stream to a monitor, so it means that they have been able to see what's been happening. Not a lot happening at the moment because that element has been complete, but once the scaffold goes, we'll be able to allow better access to the room, and people will be able to see what's been done so far, which we're all really looking forward to seeing the ceiling, because at the level that we're at the moment, which was in about 2 meters of it, it looks pretty spectacular from floor level. We think it's going to look tremendous.
We've actually got, speaking of the ceiling carvings, we've actually got a professional photographer coming tomorrow, and he's going to photograph in detail the main 4 ceiling elements, because it's so gorgeous, it seems a shame to only view it from 7 metres away.
I think it's also worth saying that Ellin's been very good in that we've invited all of the guides who wanted to come up and have a look. You know, the last time people would have had access at this level was probably the last time the ceiling was cleaned, if it's ever been cleaned before, I don't know, or certainly when it was sealed. So
You've been here 100 years, Robin.
Yeah, it was before my time.
So it's showing the guides the ceiling and the work, which means they're able to speak eloquently about the project to people who are visiting the castle. But also we took all of the housekeeping team up from household. When the castle is open to the public, they do the cleaning of the staterooms, but also when the family are in residence with guests, they also look after it. So it was very interesting to bring them up here, because, as I say, the next time that we're able to sit, 2 meters under the ceiling will be. I'll be long gone. I'll be long gone.
It'll be someone else.
Yeah, it'll be somebody else doing this project. So I think that's that was a really worthwhile exercise.
Again, it gives that sense of the fact that we're working on something quite special, and it's quite unique to get to have the opportunity to work in a space like this, on a project like this. So yeah, it's great. It's always a little bit of a deep breath moment when you have to clean a chandelier, because obviously there's lots of tinkly bits. We decided not to do a wet chemical clean like we had on some of the other metal elements and on the ceiling itself. We decided to just dry clean the chandelier, the metal parts at least. So the electricians had removed the arms and made the chandelier safe electrically. And then we have worked from the ceiling down, cleaning the chain, and then down to the main dish of the chandelier, just using brushes and hoovers to remove a lot of the surface dirt. When it comes to cleaning the glass medallions themselves, we clean those with brushes and vacuums first, and then we'll wet clean them. So we want to just get that extra level of shine. So everything is kind of cleaned with as little water as possible, and then buffed off and dried. And it gives you that wonderful sheen. But what was really interesting, because obviously I've never been up that close with this particular chandelier before, and so it was the 20th of May, and we found a label on the inside of the chandelier when we were cleaning it to say that it was finished on May the 20th in 1824, so exactly 200 years ago. So we just thought that was very nice that it chimed time-wise, and just also great to see the level of detail, and again back to the craftsmanship and the pride that people had in their work.
And I think, am I right in saying that the chandelier used to hang in the drawing room at Northumberland House in London?
I don't know what room it was in, but it was definitely Northumberland House. And on the dated plaque on the chandelier, it had the maker's name, and we did a little bit of research, and he was indeed commissioned to work on various lighting fixtures and fittings at Northumberland House.
Northumberland House stood in central London on the site of the current Charing Cross station. If I remember rightly, it was demolished to make way for the railway station, and a lot of the contents from that house, in terms of what are termed as chattels, which would be things like chandeliers and fireplaces, furniture, are actually spread around a number of the Northumberland properties, stately homes in the north and in the south, particularly a lot at Alnwick, such as fireplaces and chandeliers.
That's quite a good segue into the fireplace, because we've got scaffolding on the outside of the building to redo the plumbing that needs to be diverted to reinstate the fireplace in the recess area.
Yeah. Thanks, Andrew. Which is a bit of a challenge. You missed that out, didn't you? A bit of it being a challenge. Yeah. The plumbing issue is that in 1996, when refurbishment work was carried out at that stage then, a new toilet was installed on the floor above the library. And in order to get the drainage to the outside, this is really boring, but never mind.
That's why you're here.
Thank you. To get the drainage to the outside, a new drain had to be installed through the wall. And unfortunately, when that drain was installed, it went through part of the flue from the fireplace in the recess of the library. And at that time, it was recorded. We have a fantastic book, which is called The Book of the Bells and the Book of the Flues, from 1899, which records, at that time, all of the bell pulls in the rooms, but also the chimneys and the flues. There was a note by the then Clerk of Works added to say that this flue was never to be used. Well, never isn't quite as long as everybody anticipated.
It's quite a subjective term, never.
So the challenge now is to reroute that pipe from that loo and reinstate that flue and get it working again. There are a couple of options for that. I haven't quite decided yet which one I'm going for, but
It will be done.
It shall be done.
But you have a selection of options, as it were.
I have two options.
Do it or retire.
and no more. Yeah, the third one is let someone else do it. Yeah.
No, it's got to be back by September, Robin.
September
Yes.
this year.
Yes.
Excellent.
I've ordered the log basket.
Have you? Well done. Yeah, you're optimistic.
I like to be optimistic.
No, it will happen.
But yeah, that's one of the sort of unknown things that we didn't know when we put the project together. I think we've got, last week Ellin and I spent longer than we thought we would photographing bits of furniture that are currently in the store. We're ordering a couple of new sofas, a couple of new armchairs. There's a couple of tables coming from the salon here, which will go into the recess area. But there is a requirement for some furniture, so we're identifying some side tables, some tables, some chairs which need to go into the new recess area. And I've taken some photographs, and my job today is to put those all on paper and go through those with Her Grace to make sure she is happy and approves.
The other essential part of planning any project as well, especially when we get to this stage, is thinking about planning a party at the end of it. Absolutely. We need to not forget that.
Which Robin has very kindly to subsidise.
Oh, aye. That's interesting.
That's what I heard.
Excellent. I'll see you all at Greg's. I think it's worth mentioning about progress as well, that while I think it's unlikely that we're going to find any unforeseens, well, I hope we're not going to find any unforeseens, we don't know. It could be still something that we haven't thought about, haven't encountered yet, which could be a bit of a challenge.
The
However,
unknowns.
that's exactly it. We have got some float in the programme, a little bit of time towards the end of the programme, so hopefully we've got enough cushion there if we do find anything that tries to trip us up, shall we say.
But being optimistic, I think that if the electrical install goes well, which is the next kind of big job, and we see no reason why that shouldn't go according to plan, that's quite a lot of the technical aspects of the project done. The slight race we have is choosing fabrics and furniture for the new recess area, because obviously that was only added to the project early this year. So if we can get that done. So I've asked for all the fabrics to be delivered as and when they arrive, but I just need some final decisions from Her Grace.
Well, I think if that's everything, thank you very much for joining us once again on the Alnwick Castle podcast.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this second part of our mini-series on the Alnwick Castle Library project. We will be checking in again as it nears completion. If you liked the episode, please do leave us a 5-star rating or write us a review on your podcast platform. And if there's anything you'd like us to ask Ellin, Andrew or Robin next time, please let us know by emailing podcast@alnwickcastle.com. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the return of the Castle Archivist to the podcast to take us around the new exhibition inspired by Lions of the Red Rose. Until then, on behalf of Deborah and myself, I've been Daniel. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.